Let us put ourselves in the presence of God. Dear God, we thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused to walk with us. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we welcome you among us today and celebrate the gift of life that you have lavished upon each of us. God, we thank you for the speakers and the facilitators. We pray that you would give them great inspiration as they share with us what you have placed on their hearts. We pray that you would fill them with courage and give them their peace. We ask all, this is the glorious name of Almighty.
Thank you, Anju. It's a glad welcome we bring to you this morning, filled with the desires, hopes, and dreams we all share. Something better awaits us. I would like to welcome our resource person for today, Mrs. Seema Diwan, the founder and president of Talas Association, Bangalore. It's our honor to have you here with us today. Welcome, ma'am. Now, I would like to welcome Dr. Jugit CJ, principal of our college, who is also presiding over this webinar. Heartily welcome to you, ma'am. I would like to welcome Dr. Sarita D'Souza, HOD of MSc Criminology and Forensic Science, our faculty members, all the professors of various institutions, NGOs, and heads and representatives, alumni of institution, all the participants, and my dear friends for this national webinar on Unheard Soul. Human trafficking is not only an injustice to victim, but is an injustice unto the families and friends of that victim. It is intentional forcing of another into slavery. Children are the most vulnerable and susceptible to become victims of the human trafficking. Every country faces specific human rights issues, but human trafficking is a problem for every place on the planet. Wherever there's poverty, conflict, a lack of education, or political inability, vulnerable people are at risk. Human trafficking is the world's fastest growing criminal industry. Sexual exploitation brings in the most of billions of dollars of profit, but forced labor also generates wealth. The universality of human trafficking does not neglect the fact that the issue is multifaceted and as multitude of root causes. Certain countries are more dangerous than others, and certain people groups are more vulnerable. We shall learn more about specific human trafficking issues and solutions during this webinar. Now, I request our principal to give presidential address for this webinar. Ma'am, can you please unmute?
Founder President of Talash Association, Mrs. Seema Diwan, the resource person of the webinar, Vice Principal Dr. Janice Mary, HOD of the Department of CFS, Dr. Sarita D'Souza, President of Forensics Forum, Ms. Varsha Venkatesh, all the faculty and students from our college and various colleges, staff and associates of Talash Association, a warm welcome to all of you and good morning. People and children trafficked from the safety network of their neighborhood and homes, sometimes with the consent of their most trusted ones around whom they built their safety nest. They enter into unknown areas, unknown company, unknown livelihoods, unknown future. They enter into a network of fears, loss of oneself and slavery, unknown to the world outside, unheard souls. This is what I could surmise As I look at the webinar, at the title of the webinar being organized by the Department of MSc in Criminology and Forensic Science, how does human trafficking has a connection to the teaching and student community specializing in forensic science? As professionals involving in crime investigation and victim support, dear students, you will be coming across persons trafficked, wherein apart from proving the guilt or innocence through investigation, you need to understand the person behind the victim, the family behind the victim, the ecosystem behind the victim. Just as a correctional social worker will try to understand the person behind the crime, the family behind the crime, and the ecosystem behind the crime. So, today is also a day against child labor, World Day Against Child Labor. And need for child laborers is one reason behind human trafficking and child trafficking. Hence, it is an apt day to organize this webinar on unheard souls. And according to the Council on Foreign Relations, with the emergence of COVID-19 pandemic too, given the enormous financial hardship on families, the mass movement of people, and the closing of schools, the risks of human trafficking have increased. Actually, we think with the social distancing and closures of many institutions, the trafficking might decline. But the human trafficking has become a major lucrative crime during this time. Here, there are people who are engaged in online trafficking, and they get the children trapped in their network. So this also we need to consider as we are looking at this human trafficking during this pandemic times. And this is not the first time such diseases can have increased the likelihood of human trafficking. Previous outbreaks have also proved that human trafficking increases, and especially sometimes with the demise of parents, thus leaving the children at risk, and the social and economic conditions that lead to trafficking get amplified. We have much to learn about human trafficking, and I'm happy that you are going to learn it today, and much to learn from the multifaceted approach adopted by Talash. Right from, I was looking at your interventions, madam. So we're seeing right from emergency response, women and child protection, advocacy, research and communication, training and skill development, and resettlement. A good procedure, a process which you undertake to rehabilitate persons trafficked. I congratulate the Postgraduate Department of Criminology and Forensic Science, the HOD Dr. Sarita D'Souza, and team for organizing this webinar in collaboration with Kalash organization, Bengaluru. An organization with a sublime vision. It has a very sublime vision to establish a society free from discrimination, injustice, and poverty, and where every child and woman can live with dignity and their human rights respected. So it's an organization which works to share the pain and address the need of every child and woman, and be the voice for changing survivors' life for promotion of women and child rights. So we are really glad to associate with you, Mrs. Seema Diwan, and with you in capacities that we can merge our vision and mission, as we deeply appreciate your impactful interventions for life. On behalf of the management of School of Social Work, I thank Mrs. Seema Diwan for consenting to be the resource person for this webinar in association with our college. I wish all the participants an impacting learning at this webinar. God bless us. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, ma'am. Today we are presenting Unheard Souls. Life is a gift of our Creator, and it should never be for sale. Without further ado, we will turn the time over to our speaker, Mrs. Seema Devan. She has completed her post-graduation in sociology, psychology, and library and information science. Later in the year 2013, she started Talash with other members. Over to you, ma'am. Just before we start, I request the participants to keep themselves on mute and not to present the screen during the session. If you have any questions during the session, please type them into the chat box. I'll bring them up once the presentation is done, and we will also have time for question and answers at the end.
Thank you, Varsha. Thank you, Principal Madam, Madam Sarita D'Souza, to give us the dice to share our experience with you. And I think this is the best place where we can share our experiences, because the future criminologists are going to be start from here, and we already have case takers and investigators and social workers in line, but the real criminologists who will become ready knowingly and they with the complete knowledge when they will handle these cases, I hope the justice will take place. So nothing much to say about Talash, because Principal Madam has already introduced. In two line, we can say that Talash Association started in 2013 with vision and mission that we will, uh, we assume that we want to make a society free from crime against women and children, and we want to make it a safest place for them. As per the cases, we are into that whenever we will take case at any level, whether it is information, whether it is investigation, or it is rescue call, or it is rehabilitation or repatriation call, we complete our case in all manner while seeing back and front court. So when we are talking about crime in human trafficking, we can say that, or it is considered that human trafficking is organized crime. Organized crime, when we say that it is organized crime, it means there are so many people are involved in it and they are systematically giving it shape. Where the victim who is living in the society is totally unaware of what is happening around her or him, and they have been trapped in very systematical manner in the hand of these traffickers. Most of the parents who thinks that their children they are sending for the work purpose, they really give consent to their pupil to go abroad and work for them, but they may not know for what work their children have been taken. Poverty makes them to surrender their child to work. They think that many hands will be able to feed the mouth of people who are remaining at home. They may be later stage, they may come to know or they may not come to know, but they are very happy that they are having some of the things to feed their other family members at home. So sometimes with the consent of family members, the poor child goes into the trap of the hand of the trafficker. When it is organized, I can give you a little idea that how it takes place. It is a zero investment business with multi-billions profit. It's very easy to start targeting the vulnerable people, bring them into their places, exploit them. So basic idea behind or base of this crime is a betrayal and exploitation. The person who is helping you keeps two things in mind always, that where you can be profitable to that person. Idea behind helping you at the first level itself decide that why this person is bringing you for his benefit only, and to take you up to the destination he can promise you for the marriage, for love, job, for parlor, for everything they can promise. So these promises are very alluring for the people who are really looking for betterment in the life. And they happily agree with them. And it becomes sometimes very easy to travel from source place to destination place when it is in the form of love or in the marriage promise. So the traveling also becomes very smooth, and once the victim reaches the destination, the whole actual pictures start, where the victim found himself helpless, hopeless, and there is no place to return back. And then the cycle of exploitation starts, where victim loses his health every day, physical, mental, and psychological, and the trafficker becomes strong by wealth day by day. So this is organized crime, where the first person who spot the child, who introduce the child, who recruit the child, who transfer the child, who receive the child, who sell the child, who buy the child, and in the end, the customer who consume the child, who consume the facility from this child. So this is the way, this is a line where so many people are involved in it. It can be a multiple transfer, it can be a multiple receiver and buyer and seller, but the end of the child is gone into the vicious circle of trafficker, and it can never come out until the rescue happens, or until the child calls for the rescue, or it is noticed by any society member and reported to the right people to rescue the child. When we say it is organized crime, on the other hand, we people also have to be organized from the society level, from where the child has been trafficked, from there itself, the society level. We should also be organized. We should also be vigilant. We should also be very careful and informative about each other and noticing each other, that when we are seeing that one child is in this home, 4 children are there, and one fine day suddenly we find 2 children are there, 2 are not there. Maybe parents say they have gone here and there, but we should also keep our eyes and ears open that how the children are going out of the hand of the parents. The sometimes safety net itself has a hole. We think that parents have taken the right decision for their children, and who we are to interfere in that. Sometimes parents are not aware of it, or sometimes parents also become exploitator of their own child due to poverty. So vigilance at the society level is also required. Then reporting is the second thing. Even if you come to know, you never know whom to say, what to say, where to say. So nowadays, Childline is very active, Women Helpline is active, Police Department is also very active to take up the such cases and information, and they take up and they really help. Being organization, when we come to know anything, we believe on networking. So while sitting here, we can rescue a child in Sonipat, in Ambala, in Delhi, in West Bengal and Bihar. Or other countries also we can rescue. Recently, we have rescued one girl from West Bengal to Bangladesh. She has been trafficked. We are able to rescue. We are able to rescue the girl who started from West Bengal and reached to Sonipat, Ambala. So it is only the strength of information. You have information and you should knock the right door. You should call and you should alert the authorities, and the rescue will take place. So this is the thing when we say that information sharing and where to report, if it comes into the layman's hand, how to act. Now when we come to say that it is a case taker or social worker, how to take up the case. Victim at first level, because already he has lost trust on many people. It's not a must that whatever the information victim is giving you will be a right information. The trust building is required. The rapport building with this victim is required. Let the victim say what it is saying at the first level. You apply your mind through your multiple questions that how these answers are not matching with each other. Don't say you are telling lie. Keep on note down everything, whatever they are saying. Give them enough time. Give them 1 day, 2 days. Let them forget what they said to you. At first, out of fear, out of mistrust, or out of escaping. Go again second time. Meet them. Listen them carefully. Again, you come back and match your first case taking and second case taking. You will find the information is changed. It keeps on changing at 2 and 3 sessions of when you take up cases. We are not supposed to tell them you are lying. Make more smart questions to dig into deep. Rearrange your questions. Reframe your questions in such a manner where victim will never come to know that you are digging into deep, but you take the right case. Once you are done and you are very confident, now the questions are same and answers are not on changing. You just allow them to say their own story completely. Now you sit and you match with their questionnaires, their stories. Prepare the chronological order. Prepare the time frames. Prepare the routes. Prepare the map of how many people involved in it. Once you are done with this design, your work is to give and report the investigator. Cross-checking of this information should be done carefully. Recently, we have one case. I think you people are also aware of that video recording of one rape case happened with one Bangladeshi victim. So Talash is doing this case and we came to know that at investigation level, at first information is given completely wrong. All the victims and all the traffickers are in same line, not to answer in right manner. They are very much afraid. I don't know what will happen to us. They are giving their names wrongly. They are giving their addresses wrongly. They are giving their traffickers' name wrongly. It started from 29th and still it is going on. We are not yet done completely. But we are already done 24. Only 2 more are remaining. So we have to work on them because they have some corona issues and also they are hospitalized. We are not able to do it. So investigation level, all are married. All are here as a couple. But what we found is none of the man is their husband. That we can see by their faces, by their eye contact, the way they talk to each other, the way to defend with each other, their age, their style, their addresses. You talk to them separately. One is belong to this area, other is belong to this area, and their information is entirely different. So at investigation level, we have to see, even though they are saying they are married couple, there must be some other reason to say so, but they are not married. They are not couple. They have never seen each other before coming here. So you have to cross-check this information. When they say they are just here from last 2 months, and they are very fluent in Hindi, and they also know few words of Kannada, we must think within 1 or 2 months, the person cannot learn that much Hindi from Bangladesh. So we have to cross-check everything with our experience. Sometimes they are very poor, they are very helpless, and when you ask them, are you able to talk to your parents? Smartly they will say, yeah, daily we talk. You can understand that their parents know they are here. When you say, are you able to give gift to your small children? Sometimes you are earning so much here. Yeah, we send money. So you come to know they are really connected with their parents. Are they really victim? Are they really migrant laborers? They purposely came here or they have been brought forcefully. You can cross-check with the investigation. You have to prepare your SMART questionnaire. Questionnaire which asks bit by bit information in a scattered manner so that and you can arrange your information. And they never come to know that we have already given the right information. Match their age with their multiple certificates. We have one case out of this 25 where the age is 1993 is also there, 2001 is also there, 2002 is also there, and we are still waiting for the right age. So this comes at the investigation level. They also have multiple kind of identification cards. पासपोर्ट भी है, इंडियन आईडी भी है, बांग्लादेशी आईडी भी है, और दुबई आईडी भी है. So you have to find out what is the exact age of this child. So this goes into the investigation level. Then route. When they say they are coming in 2 days, when they are saying they are coming in 3 days, when they say they reached here, they started on that date, and they reached here, calculate the age, calculate the time. How much time they have taken? So maybe the route is long. Maybe they have stayed many places in between. So you have to find out what are these transit homes where they have stayed and who are supporting them. It comes by experience slowly. When you experience multiple cases in multiple style and you meet many victims and you meet many traffickers, it comes on by own. Then it comes the prosecution part of police. Being a case taker and being an investigation, our work is to produce the right things before the investigation officers and prosecutors. Let them take accordingly. Now our work is to work on the rehabilitation part of the victim. Here starts the role of counselor. We need to understand that what is the age of this victim in human trafficking, total age of the victim, biological age also, and work experience age also. When the child is brought freshly and she is passing through conditioning process, beating process, harassing process to prepare for the work, child really needs your help and he will run to you for help. Send me home, I don't want to be here. Because child is only facing beating, thrashing and harassing. They are trying their hard to push child into the prostitution or exploitation. So that is the time when child understand, oh yes, I am cheated. Why they are beating me? They were very sweet there. Now they are turned up like this. I don't want to be with them. I want to return home. At the level when girl has been allured for as a lover or as a to-be husband, and when she understands that fellow has left me here and ran away and I am into wrong hands, she really needs help. She asks your help to return home. But when this duration is long, exploitation starts. They really face the exploitation. For a long time, the two things come in the mind of victim. First thing, there is no return. I am totally spoiled. How can I go home? How my family will consider me? Traffickers also give them proper threats. They prepare their videos, they prepare their weak points to tell into their areas, if you return back, we make it viral. So all these threats make up their mind not to return back. This is the second level when they want to and there is a conflict in mind. If we go, this and this will happen. My parents will be harassed. They will lift up my second sister, or this video if goes viral, what they will consider, and they will throw me out of the home. So there is no way to return back. Let us continue here. It is a compromising level where victim says still want and don't want. They are pendulum in between, and one fine day they will decide to be in the line only, because at least we are able to save some money. For them, let it be whatever happened with us. This is the time when trafficker tuned down this victim completely into the profession. They have tasted the money in this line. And this victim at later stage convert herself trafficker to bring in more girls. Because one time sell of this girl gives great money, and continued exploitation gives money in installment. So this victim itself converts the trafficker with the help of their previous trafficker. And this chain of trafficking goes on. So this is the time where counselor, whoever the victims come into contact, have to convert their mind, to give them courage, to give them support, to make up their mind. Let it be whatever happened is happened, and still future is ahead. We can start our life again. Here counselor has a very strong role to say that not only mental rehabilitation, physical health rehabilitation, and also social rehabilitation part has to be taken up. They don't only send the child back to their countries, back to their district, or back to their cities, but also connect with them a strong partner, so that if anything happens in future, threat of the trafficker, facing poverty, any chance of the re-trafficking, they can counsel on the other side, they can connect themselves with the right partner to ask their opinion and ask the help. So this is a proper rehabilitation and proper networking of one NGO to the other NGO, when counselor connect them to the right people and the NGO connect them to the right people, so that victim cannot re-traffic again. Now, when we talk about the acceptance of this victim in the society, or the acceptance by the victim of the society, there are two things. If I come, whether you will accept me or not, that is social acceptance. Even if you send me, I want to accept you or not, is a victim's mentality. We have sent many victims where victim says, we want to go our home, homeland, but not home. In that case, you have to provide protection to that victim into their own country until they don't want to return the home, until their family do not want to accept them, until they do not want to accept their parents. If there is any safety reason, emotional, psychological reason, social pressures, until then you have to wait. It is very easy to accept by the people, and if you sense that there is a threat to the victim, the child or victim can be misused, don't send the child to their families. See the history of the parents, see the history of the child. If it is a repeated kind of pattern, the family is not the safe place for the victim. Make some other arrangements. Send them to the skill development organizations with sheltered support. Ultimate aim, this child can come to so far away from their home for the earning purpose. So make that child strong there itself, develop their skill, make them do the right things to earn. So this comes when child does not want to go home, and this comes when family does not want to accept the child. So this is from my side. Now I am free, I am open to accept questions. Hello? Varsha?
Yes, ma'am, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you have a question in the chat box. Did you face any
Yeah,
threat?
about threats. Yeah, threats are, see, threat is a part of this procedure. We accept it. Even if you go to rescue the child, threat is waiting for you. You have to be smart enough, go with enough police force, go with enough child CCB or CID in enough number. Before that, you have to do a proper recce of the area. You have to see how many places, how many entries, how many exits, so that you do your rescue in proper manner and you also don't face the threat. After, when we are working with the victim, also we sometimes we get the direct threats from the traffickers also. Just ignore them, they can't do anything. Anything else?
You can unmute yourself and ask a question.
Ma'am, I have a question. You mentioned something like if in our neighborhood, if we happen to see something not happening right, like, out of the four, two children have just gone missing or not been around, or you see a lot of men going in and out of the, house, and you feel that something is not right, who do we report this to?
See, best place is report to city crime branch. As per my experience, sometimes the local police station fails to support you for some or the other reason. My experience is best with the city crime branch. You inform to commissioner of police and they will get it done through city crime branch.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Or you can also report organization like us. So we will do the second level of investigation and we can do it.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
Ma'am, how will the society accept these victims later on?
How will society accept this victim later on, or how should we accept them?
I think we can go with both because most of them.
Okay, let's say I was in love with a person and I have gone with love marriage. We were going on honeymoon and suddenly accident happened. And this man has to be amputated left leg. What should I do? I'm asking you, what should I do? I keep my all love aside because he is not having one leg. I should leave this man or I should continue and accept it.
It maybe depends on the individual.
When I will not accept his deformity, how he himself will accept? It's an equal psychological loss from both sides. I have been victimized. I have a pain. What I have gone through, you cannot understand. Only because I have gone through all this, so you are hurt and you will not accept me. Is it right?
Yes, ma'am.
So once the acceptance has to be prepared from our side, we are ready to accept, then the healing process will start. Then one fine day the whole assimilation in the family will happen. When I am not ready to accept, I am seeing the deformity, I am blaming at you, I am pointing at you, I am abusing you, I am kicking you because you have brought this stain on the family. How the victim will be settled in the family? Victim has gone through more than that. Victim has faced multiple men, multiple traffickers, physical, emotional, all kind of harassment, assault has happened with the victim. She is suffering inside, has a conflict inside out which she cannot share to you word by word. She is sobbing silently. Instead, we are not allowing her to heal inside only by giving a big hug and accept happened is happened. You are still my pure child. I hope I'm clear.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you have few questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Is human trafficking gender neutral?
Yes. It is gender neutral. In this recent case, if you are going through newspaper regularly, I think from 29th, this case is giving regular update in the newspaper. In this case, when we came to know, we got an equal number of men and women. Total 25 cases we have handled in this from 29th to till now, and it is 1-to-1. 1 man and 1 woman. The way they are working is a 1-to-1 monitoring system. The kingpin has been arrested in Bangladesh. 4 people are arrested there and 25 are arrested on the other side. The style of that person is he is nicely sitting in Bangladesh, coming here and there. He has a multiple flats on rent in Bangalore. And multiple huts, multiple rooms have been taken by this man, and he is keeping 1 woman with 1 man. Men who are looking for job and betterment in Bangladesh, those are also brought, and the women are also brought. So this man, the work of this man is only to monitor this woman, only to drop and pick up this woman, only to coordinate with the main person where to drop this girl and where from we have to pick up. Just pose as a husband of this girl and remain in this home. You also enjoy your life with this woman, manage your home, bring vegetables, do this and that, and also follow my command where to drop and where to pick up. For that purpose, he is also bringing the vulnerable. I found 2 people, they have done second year PUC. They have done honors in BCA. They have done honors in economics. Only 1 year was remaining. They have been valued for the good job in India and just made them a pimp of these girls. So now it is a gender neutral because he want to do in the vast area. He is working in Tamil Nadu, he is working in Kerala, he is working in Hyderabad, he is working in Mysore, he is working in Tirupati, he is working in Goa. For that network, he needs men and women both. So if 50 women are here, 50 men are also here. These men are given only 10 to 15,000, but this main pimp is earning almost 1,00,000 rupees per day per girl. You can understand. So it is gender neutral now.
Vaishnavi, do you have a question? Okay.
Okay, Talash Association is only
Ma'am,
working
just a minute.
for, yeah.
There are more
Tell
questions in
me.
the chat box.
Yeah, I have seen rehabilitation program. They are asking for Talash Association rehabilitation program. For
Yes,
the
yes.
victim, what we do is we are mainly working on mental rehabilitation. Till now, whoever victim we have sent to Bangladesh, they are at right place. They have not been re-trafficked. So we only prepare them mentally. We prepare their family to accept them. We prepare the victim to return home. After going also, our partner do the same process with them, and every bit of difficulty has been addressed emotionally, socially, and the financial support also has been provided, like sewing machine, like skill development programs, they have been attached into that. And after that, after job programs are also have given to them. So till now, we can say that only one male victim has been found to try to cross the border again. All other female and males are in right place from 2013 till now. So we mainly work on provide them strong network partners with the right mental counseling. This is our mental rehabilitation program for that.
Ma'am, Priyush has asked, you said that human trafficking crime is well organized crime. As to be said, there is a greater chance in which the high profile people are in such organized crime. How can we eradicate such group?
See, the way they are using technology, most of the things are happening through this TikTok, Facebook, all they are using their technology to trap the girls and to traffic. We are lagging behind into that. We want everything in every department in hard copy, physically and personally. Over phone, if they say someone go pick that girl, someone start immediately go and pick the girl. But when I want to say any police department, they want my identity, they want hard copy, they want this ID, they want that ID, they want order from their superior officers in hard copy into their hand. Then for coordination with the other police station, again they want. We are lagging behind. We consume time. We go with hard copies. We go physically, personally request. They are faster than us. That's why I'm saying they are more organized than us. When we send one victim back to home, we coordinate with 20 departments. Sending one victim to home make us coordinate 20 departments. In hard copies. For one victim, 20 copies. We are systematic, formal, and recorded. They don't keep any record. They go by call and they do by call. And they are very fair into their payments to each other. We have a system. We people are legal people. We can organize. We can also use the technology. If we allow our police department to access the ID card, multiple people we are giving bail from the court itself when they are showing us the fraud Aadhaar card. Our department is not having any access to see whether this ID card is fake or real. For that, they have to coordinate with properly Aadhaar card department. But they have to produce the victim next day in the court within 24 hours. How it is possible? So there are gaps which we also have to fill and be more organized.
Ma'am, next question. Which is more, foreigner getting traffic to India or Indians getting traffic to abroad?
See, if thing is made in India and if thing is made of China or made of USA, what you will prefer? It goes demand. If I demand Russian girl here, the inflow of Russian girl will happen here. It's not like that Indian girls are not going abroad or Bangladeshi girls are not going abroad or African girls are not coming to India. It's vice versa everywhere. As per demand of the market, girls are being supplied.
Ma'am, next question. There are many unheard souls where we don't even aware of, and people in rural areas don't even inform police or any NGOs. In that case, how can we identify such victims and help them?
See, being a civil society, we can only see and notice. Things are happening around us. We may be a sensible citizens, but I can't see from here to far away in Jharkhand village that one girl is missing from there. We have a missing portals. Lost and found we have. We have newspapers. What we do as a Talash? Morning itself we go through papers. From our side we contact parents of missing girl. From our side we contact police stations. Sir, this case happened. Do you need our support? From our side we contact jail. From our side we inform all the NGOs that we are available to support at any level. But being a social being, you can see where your movements are only. While going to office, while coming from office, while in the neighborhood, if you notice, you can report. Being a responsible citizen.
Ma'am, Niket asks, can you please explain a case that you felt interesting? And one more question is what are the roles of other NGOs in this?
Okay, when I'll start from other NGOs. When we started Talash, we started with volunteering first. We started volunteering and we tried to understand that what exactly other organizations are doing and where we are fitting into it. Initially, honestly, I'm saying our motto was only to help, but we found a gap in helps. We have a child line who rescue the child. The work of child line is only to rescue the child. We have certain NGOs who take up the children as an orphan child. They look after only orphan children. We have child welfare committee. When they find the child, family of the child, they restore the child to the parents without going deep into it that a child was here, whether child was sent by family, whether child ran away. They found family and they restored the child to family. There are protection homes where children are in transit until the families are found. They simply wait when this child will go home. Orphan children are restored to the educational kind of NGOs who are into education. So every organization is doing their bit part. Sometimes child don't want to return home, but we found the family. So we are restoring the child forcefully with the father, giving 100 counseling, you go, you go, you go. So these all things we have noticed, and we found that we should understand the need of the child completely. If child is rescued by police, rescued by child line, rescued or child came himself to surrender himself, we must understand the child. We assess the need of the child. We assess the protection part of the child and how the child can be rehabilitated. So then when we established our organization, we said we will do the one case at any level we find, we will complete the back and forth all processes. If child does not want to return, there must be a reason. Listen to the child. If she is a girl child and having a stepfather, you have 100 reasons to listen to the child. If child has a stepfather, boy child, and he does not want to return, there must be a history of cruelty behind that. So we considered we will work as a whole, not at one component. And we are into that.
Now, when we asked if there's any case, that is interesting that you found.
Interesting in what manner? Interesting in risk, interesting in rescue, interesting in repatriation. What kind of interest you want to know?
Maybe he wants to know, like, with an example of case, I think. That's what he meant.
Example, no, let him come up with the interest. What exactly he want to know?
Niket, you there?
Ask clearly. Ask clearly.
Okay, both risk and rehabilitation.
Okay, it was a case in Pillana Garden, here in Bangalore itself. So we had a one email only, where I was informed by one neighbor that in a Muslim family, one girl is being converted in process of conversion, and she is a child, and we found that this child is here from very long time. How she noticed that is that her sleep is being disturbed every day in the morning when one elderly lady is screaming in very loud manner to make her get up, that small child, and to do the household work. That was completely Muslim area, and that lady used to call Shakti Utho, Shakti Utho. So Shakti is not the name of any Muslim person. So this lady got interested and she focused, who is this lady who is disturbing my sleep. Then she came to find out there is a one small child inside that home who is doing the domestic servitude from last 4 years. When we rescued, that child was only 11 years old. So that child was working in that house from last 4 years. And really the child was in the process of wearing hijab and everything as per them. We sent Reiki for 3 days and we found the child is here. Anyway, the rescue has been planned, and the day we went to rescue, as soon as we were entering into the lane, we just saw on the top that child was wearing hijab and child was present there. We knocked the door and we just asked them whether this is a place of that and that person. He said yes. So I said, Shakti is here. They said yes. As soon as they came to know that we came to rescue, they said Shakti is not here. She was here. Yes, she used to work here. I agreed on that point. And so that she is here, but right now she is not here. It took almost 2.5 hours. When I think 6 people from labor department, 6 or 7 police, and 6 and 7 from Kalash organization. We just gathered around their house, not to let out anyone in and out, and waiting outside, very much confirm that child is inside. Local leaders came. The whole area was full. Every balcony was full. Everyone was videographing and making film of us. Threats were there. Muslim area. Police was forcing us to do fast because anything can happen. And we were firm that girl is here, we will go with girl. Finally, the local leader came and he tried his all best, threat and everything. We said, if we want, we can barge into the home and we can drag the girl out. Because we are maintaining your privacy and we are not entering. So don't take us otherwise. We can do it. Then finally, someone from the neighborhood only gave us signal that they have left the girl on the terrace. Go and pick the girl from the terrace. We went, we came out with the girl. It was a full big drama, full threat. I don't know how many people filmed us that day and what they did with that film. Finally, we rescued that child. Now that child is in 7th class. Happily, in one of the NGO, we produced to CWCA and we briefed the whole case. The child mother is very helpless, sleeping somewhere on the pavements, where the girl child cannot be sleep with her. So this child has been taken up for the household work and they were dragging this child from 5 morning to late night 11:30. Now child is very healthy, very happy into the school. So this is most interesting case where from rescue to conversion rescue and the child is reintegrated with the education and I am able to monitor that child. That is the best part.
Ma'am, next question. After rescuing, will the victims have any threat from the traffickers?
Yeah, victim 100% have a threat. If they try to come up with the fake documents, being parents, posing as parents, because in any condition, if you have an income of 1 lakh per day, you will not spare that golden hen. You would like to keep with you only. So they try their best. And if they try to flee out of your hand, you have seen this recently. People who have not seen that video viral, beating video of the victim, you see it, you will come to know what they do with victim if they try to flee away. It's available on the net.
Next, Anil asks, how can we try to change the perception and misconception of society towards such victims?
Towards?
towards such victims?
In the same manner, when I was mentioning you that you have a hand with 5 fingers, if your one finger is cut, will you want to remove your whole hand because you don't want to see the ugly part of your palm? Will you cut it from the shoulder?
No,
We
definitely.
must learn to accept. We must learn to accept. Accident happens. Betrayal happens. Cheating happens. And people like us also being cheated on internet, on ATM and bank frauds, though we are educated and literate. Think about them who have not seen beyond their village boundary, how they will come to know the international law, passport law, visa law, international boundaries, legalities. Do you expect them to know all these things? So they are unknown people, have been betrayed by traffickers. It's done and it's done. Once they are rescued, just take them as a pure soul. Try your best to convert them as a right citizen. If it happens second time, third time, jail is waiting for them. But in society, in home, if something happens, अगर आपका बैंक में से कुछ पैसा, if you lose some money, for a while someone will try to take back the money or they will try their best. If they don't get what they do, they stop earning or they kill that person. Because of that, that loss happened. No, na. We move ahead. We learn to move ahead.
Next question. Are victims usually from low income families?
Yes, certainly. Certainly, they are very vulnerable. They think if I am out of the family, at least 4 will have full meal. They are from such families.
Now, next, what are the signs to look out for to identify a victim of exploitation due to trafficking?
Okay. When you see someone, it's a very good question. When you see someone in Bangalore itself, you start noticing the pattern I am telling you. Most of the places are bus stands or railway stations. There someone is with some other girl, but this girl is not having any purse in her hand. She is not having any luggage in her hand. She is just following that man, and man is over coordination on phone. Girl is simply following that, whether it is minor or major. If she is minor, she is wearing a dress imposing to be a major girl with makeup, heels, and good clothes. And if she is a major, she is not interested to look left and right. She will simply follow. Notice all these symptoms. Notice their fingers, the way they rub their hands, the way they rub their toes to the ground. They don't give you eye contact. If you find them alone, they don't have any address to tell you. Or maybe they are not able to tell you because of the language gap. If you want to ask them, if you find anyone helpless and you want to know where you want to go, they are not able to give you that address because they don't know where actually they are living and what is their next destination because they are changing multiple places. Nowadays, it's a kind of online demand. 10 days here, 5 days here, 2 days here, 3 days here. They don't have any address to tell you. Try to understand all this and make out that person is trafficked.
And next, social media platforms turn to human trafficking activities.
Nowadays, so many TikTok groups are there. If you join all TikTok groups, you will find one or two figure who are common in every TikTok group. Same with Facebook. Multiple name with one face. Multiple Facebook accounts are there. हिंदू नाम से, मुस्लिम नाम से, क्रिश्चियन नाम से, सब नाम से एक ही आदमी का फेसबुक अकाउंट है. फेसबुक, टिकटॉक, ईमो, all these things are being used, and TikTok is the best one. Messenger, they also know from where police cannot track them. They are using such kind of platforms. Anything else?
Yes, ma'am. What do you think is the major reason behind trafficking?
Major reason behind trafficking. See, it depends. If a major lady, she has seen enough in her life. Maybe poverty is there. Maybe marital discord is there. Maybe torture is there. But for the young girls, mostly it is love affair. Mostly it is a choice of a man. As per their age, reason becomes like that. If someone is working in jute mill and getting 3,000, and the same supervisor tell him, I know you know everything, but they are paying you very less. Earlier, I used to work in one factory in India. For the same job, they will give you 8,000. When they calculate 8,000 in India, it becomes 10,000 in Bangladesh. So the same supervisor, he is working there as a supervisor, but his main job is to target the vulnerable girls who are in need of more money. He will do the same job. For trafficker, he is a pimp of the trafficker, but in that factory he is a supervisor. Who will not listen to supervisor? Who will not see for the better opportunity? So mainly on the working places, the less salary is the reason. In front of police station and counseling places, the torture is the main reason. The young girl from running away through the Facebook and all the love is the main reason. So region changes according to need of the victim.
Next, even in today's world where people have a wide mentality, there are some places where parents don't want their child back, ever especially the girl who has been a victim. How to deal with those parents who even want to kill their own child because she went with her own will but got in some wrong hands.
Juvenile Justice Act in India clearly says if parents are unfit or cruel to keep the child is a property of nation. Take away that child and raise that child in child care institutions. Same applicable in other countries.
Next question on for a victim in need of rescue, how does Talash Association come to help?
See, we get almost 2 to 3 calls every day from West Bengal and Bangladesh. And as of now, we have 100% to rescue that child. What else I can say?
Another question. Has the pandemic worsened human trafficking in India?
Yes. Yes, because general public is inside. Children are more online, being no activity, being education giving on the online. Being the children who are going for small petty jobs to earn, they are also inside and they are using their parents' mobile and all. So they are coming into contact of new people. Facebook has no face, false faces, fake faces. They are coming every day into contact. In this period, elopement cases has increased. We call them elopement because parents think that girl has run away with the boy. Initially, it looks like elopement, but it has a deep root into trafficking. So certainly in this period, it has increased.
Next, can we break the chain of trafficking?
We can do it if our networking is strong. From 2019, we are working bilaterally in the both countries. When we arrest traffickers here and we rescue victims here, we are giving online statement to the Bangladesh police, and on the victim who are with us, on the statement of these victims, we are arresting trafficking on the other side. While victim is with us, statement has been given. On that statement, FIR has been done there, and the traffickers are arrested there. In this recent cases also, we have here 25 people, 11 as a victim, others as traffickers. But their masters are arrested in that country on our information. So when we coordinate well, our information system works more and faster than any other system. We can do it. It's not that technology can be used only by them. It can be used by us also. We are using faster than them. So in recent cases, we are able to send many behind the bar in Bangladesh while sitting here. And this time when we have arrested the kingpin of this crime, I think some 5 districts of India will be impacted. Here, having no victims to exploit, and 5 districts in Bangladesh are safe where victim cannot be trafficked because the main people have been behind the bar. So best coordination, networking, and faster technology should be used. It can curb. At least we can say at least some 70% we can do it nicely if we go faster than them. Nothing can be finished completely. Even Dettol soap say it is 99%. 1% germs can remain there. So here also they are here. They have habit of easy earning. They have habit of this industry where no investment and only profit. So they will remain here. But when they will find threat in areas, they will leave those areas. They may emerge any other place, and that place also need the same system to curb them.
Oh, it looks like we have covered all of our questions, ma'am. Is there anything else you wanted to cover up covered before we wrap up?
From my side, it's over. I would like to say, where was this college? In my time of education, I really wanted to do criminology as a postgraduate. That time colleges were not available. Now when I am too old to do it, college is there. Thank you so much for
Yes, ma'am.
listening me carefully. Yeah.
Ma'am, Sarita D'Souza here.
Yeah, namaste, madam.
Namaste, ma'am. So, ma'am, I'm happy that it's indeed a very informative session and need of the hour as well. I personally thank you, madam, for sparing your time with us and sharing your life experience serving for the victim of human trafficking. I am sure that this session has enlightened the participants with regard to the unheard souls and their role in identifying this trafficking victims. Especially, ma'am, I have a question with regard to how the students of criminology, forensic science, and forensic psychology could play a role in assisting NGOs working for victims of human trafficking, like yours. What is the contribution from our side to the NGO working for the victims of human trafficking?
We welcome volunteers and interns.
Okay.
You can keep us in mind when you send your volunteers and interns. So we can train them and we can help a positive help from their side because they are into the same learning and their interest is same with us.
Yes, ma'am. In case if our students would like to help, in what way they can contribute? Like even if they are volunteer, because a certain role, if they would know, they may be interested in serving voluntarily.
Yeah, they can.
See,
They can.
yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
One thing like internship that they have for a month.
Yes.
So where they can spend 1 month with the NGOs. Other than that,
Yes.
like voluntarily, if they are in the place in Bangalore or something, how would you request? I mean, what help you would expect from our students?
See, first thing is they can make their groups area-wise, and they can provide us the potential informations also. It will help to rescue. It will help to prosecute. Being a social vigilant committees they can make within the society while going college and coming from college. They can be a vigilant citizen or vigilant committee member who can report also, who can provide information also. That can also be done. Yeah, or they can be a member of Talash Association. They can make the organization more strong providing their membership. So we can anytime, like if something happens in Mangalore, I can contact my vigilant committee there. So networking also can be made strong with them. Vigilant committees can be made by them, and information team can be made with them. Even though they are not working as an internship or volunteer, this can be a throughout year or throughout until when they want. Yeah, this way we can work.
Yes, ma'am. So it's the jurisdiction is all over India. It's not that only in Bangalore or somewhere else.
No, we are not limited to India also.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah, we can take up the case anywhere. We know whom to knock and how to get done the things. Whether it is any other African countries, Lebanon, anywhere. If someone is saying, I need help, our work is to provide and rescue.
Ma'am, do you think like, say, especially some students ask the question regarding trafficking victims to other countries, and we ourselves only are finding difficult to get the passport, visa, and all those. And how is it possible these get such facilities to traffic them from here to abroad? Any idea with regard to that?
They have fake passports. They are going with
Oh.
passport, but they are going with fake passport, and there are some countries who have banned some typical countries, and they are not taking that side of tourist or that side of workers. So they come and they change destination. Like Nepal has blocked few countries. So these Nepalis come in India, they make Indian passport. Nepalis are banned there, but Nepalis come here, they become Indian, make Indian passport and go. The same Bangladeshis are banned in certain countries. So they are not coming on their Bangladeshi. They come in India, they get up somehow the Indian passport and they are going abroad. So this is how also the trafficking is happening with legal documents made illegally. Same the African
Because
countries, they are coming in India with passports.
because nowadays they say the surveillance is very strict. So I thought it is difficult for them to traffic victims.
Yeah, almost every day few cases are being few arrests are taking place on the airport areas while they are returning from those countries.
Okay.
So our foreign detention centers are taking up such cases where people went to other countries as Indians, but for some other reason when they were returning, we found they are not Indians, and we asked their right address or call their parents here. If you are Indian, you reached Bangalore, call your father, the father is in Bangladesh. So such cases, yeah, it's going on. Some illegal things also taking place legal way.
True.
Yeah.
But some of the parents only willingly sell their children.
When they taste money, these children,
Everything. Well,
do they really go back and tell them that we are doing this job? No. They tell them I am domestic servitude. They tell them I am working in shopping mall. I am in beauty parlor job. They give them nice name.
have you come
They are
across
also
such cases, ma'am? Have you come across such
they are also
cases where they
ashamed.
have,
Yeah.
have you come across such cases where their parents themselves willingly sold their children?
Yes. Such
Then it is
children
very difficult, I feel.
I have never sent such children back to their families. They are still under protection homes.
Oh, that's nice. It's not safe also to send them back
It's
there.
not safe. They will resell.
True, true. So to keep it that way, whether there is certain legal procedure that has to be followed, ma'am,
For
for
keeping them in
keeping those children with you. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah. Yeah, we have a history. We have to submit a case in a way mentioning their back histories and the statement of the child, what happened with the child. And when child says, I don't want to return, we will not send
Okay.
the child. Even if the means if your daughter fights and come back to us and she says, I don't want to see my mother, until child will not be ready, we will not send your child to you. Under Juvenile Justice Act, when child does not feel comfortable with her own parents, child can be separated with the parents.
Yes, yes.
It can be used and it can be misused both ways.
True. Nice, ma'am. Nice hearing you. Very informative session for our students as well, because they learn as a part of syllabi. So I assure that certain sessions would go on in future as well. It's nice
Sure,
to
sure.
collaborate and
Sure,
have
it
this
is
informative session.
our
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
limitations, so we have to go online. We would like to see face to face also. Let the situation be controlled.
True, ma'am. True. We look
Yes.
forward.
Yes. So from my
Yes,
side,
Varsha.
thank you so much
Yes, Varsha would wind up.
for listening me with so much of patience.
Yeah, great. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here on behalf of the department. I express my heartily felt thanks to all for sparing time from their schedule to have an informative and interactive discussion on this webinar. On this occasion, I would like to thank Mrs. Seema Diwan for making some time from her busy schedule, agreeing and being here with us to share your experience working for and with victims of human trafficking. Thank you, ma'am. I thank our principal, Dr. Juliet CJ, ma'am, for joining us on this webinar. Dr. Sarita D'Souza, HOD of MSc Criminology and Forensic Science, our faculty members, all the professors of various institutions, NGO heads and representatives, alumni of our institution, and my dear friends. I thank the members of the organizing team who took an effort to form this meet, be systematic, and those who have worked behind scenes. And lastly, the webinar would have been impossible without our participants. Thank you for all for your presence and for making this successful interactive session. Thanks again for joining us today, and we hope to see you next time. Have a nice day.
Thank you all.
Ma'am, shall we have
Thank
one? Yes, ma'am. Shall we have one screenshot, please?
People who are willing, please turn on your cameras.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you all. I hope it gave
Yes, ma'am.
some.
In the chat box they have written that they thanked you.
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mushtaq. Thank you, Naina. Thank you, Gauri. Supriya, thank you. Tanuja, thank you. Anuj Shankar, thank you.